Magic in the morning with naked eyes. And I think that just simply means you don't have your glasses or your sunglasses on. But anyways, 8:36 on our clock. It's a Tuesday, time for another edition of Good Policies with Mike Barrett from Barrett Insurance Agency. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I am okay. We've got some rain out there for the gardens.
Yeah. I guess, I'm now over 50 now, so I can say it. Oh, boy, we really needed the rain. So
We certainly did.
isn't that part of what I'm supposed to do now? I don't know.
Well, I get Mark was telling us earlier this morning that we only had just a little bit more than like an inch and a half of rain for the entire month of June, and we really need it. Anyways.
Yeah, we'll take it.
We're not here to talk weather. We're here to talk insurance, how you can get the most out of your insurance dollars, no matter what we're covering, what's going on. And my goodness, we had quite an event. Well, it could have been a major event in downtown St. Johnsbury last week.
Yeah.
That fire. Oh, my goodness. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that was very concerning. We were actually, because it was Thursday, we were all up at the Orleans Country Club for the NEK Can Golf Scramble. And all of a sudden, we started getting alerts on our phones about this, and we're trying to figure out where the address was. The cellular service wasn't great, so we all went into the clubhouse and checked out Wi-Fi. We were all pretty concerned. To have a downtown business block catch fire is not a good thing, because if it goes fast and gets out of control, it could be catastrophic. And before we go anywhere, huge kudos to the first responders, St. Johnsbury Fire Department, all the mutual aid responders who came and just tackled that thing head on and did an amazing job.
Yeah, I think there was all in all about 8 of the surrounding communities. I mean, they even came over from across the river, but Barnett was there. They came up with their food and refreshment truck to make sure everybody was okay. But the good news is we didn't have the same thing happen that happened years back with the other fire. But there are insurance implications on multiple fronts here, because it was a business and apartments.
Yeah, so this is where you really want to make sure you have insurance coverage. Let's start with the businesses, right? There's 2 businesses. There's the restaurant and the nail salon, if I remember correctly. Both of them are now out of business until further notice, until this is remedied, which who knows the timeline, and let's not guess. But now they're both without what they were supposed to do, and that's making money. So my absolute hope is that both businesses have business owners policies or something similar, like a commercial package policy. You should have business income and extra expense coverage in those policies. Business income is what would help you get the money you're losing by not having sales. The insurance company will look and say, well, on average, this is what you would normally make in a month's time. Here's some money out of your insurance policy to help cover that. And then extra expense could be, maybe you have some employees that you can't pay anymore and you don't want to lose them. Well, extra expense could help keep the employees compensated as well. Hopefully the period of restoration is not too long, but without that coverage, you're out of business. And unless you are able to absorb that loss yourself, which can be pretty significant, especially when you're a 7-day-a-week business or 5-day-a-week business, and that's your bread and butter, it can be devastating. Not even to mention the loss of the personal property, the stock that you had in the building. There's so many things that insurance is going to cover if you have the right cover. So my absolute hope is that they do.
Okay, so that's the ground floor of that building, and now let's go upwards.
We always talk about renter's insurance, right?
We do.
Yeah.
Now, the way this all played out, the fire started at the lower portion of the building in the back and worked its way up. And I think about a quarter of it was heavily damaged.
Yeah.
And then it went up to a little bit less damage, and then it went up to even less damage. But the thing is, the other damage wasn't from the fire. It was trying to tackle the fire.
Smoke and water. Where there's smoke, there's fire, So those are going to make it so that building is uninhabitable. So if you were a tenant in that building and you don't have renter's insurance, you really have nothing. Now let's go to the better news. Let's say you do have renter's insurance. Well, whatever you chose for contents coverage that's damaged due to smoke and water or fire is going to be covered for replacement if you've got the right policy. So the hope being that you have that. But the other thing too, Jeff, is that the renter's insurance policies have loss of use coverage, right? So, and it's not so much because most of us have family we could probably go stay with, but that's not always the case, nor is that always an option. So you want to make sure on your renter's policy, which you would have if you have a renter's policy of loss of use, it would pay to put you up temporarily elsewhere. Let's say you had a loss that only kept you out of your living quarters for 3 days. Well, you could stay at a hotel for 3 days, and the company would help pay for that, so it's not an out-of-pocket expense for you. So there are so many reasons. We talk about it all the time about the importance of having appropriate coverage. And, when I saw that fire, I started thinking about just the ramifications of the businesses and the tenants of that building. And just, because the building owner has insurance. So they're going to be able to go through the process of correcting this. But there is going to be a timeline there that's going to hold it up for everybody else. And if everybody has the right insurance, everybody should make it through. Now, remember, claims are never, I don't care if you have the best insurance company and the best claim experience in the world, it's still a pain in the butt. It's still inconvenient because it's different than your everyday activity. But if you have the right insurance, everybody should come out on top.
Now, in our previous conversations about renters insurance, these numbers seem to stick in my head. Somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 of personal coverage. Now, in today's world, the dollar isn't worth as much, but still, not having to worry about that $15,000 coming out of your pocket is quite a bit of peace of mind.
It can be life altering when a loss like that occurs, whether you're the building owner or not. As a tenant, if where you live suffers a fire or a covered loss that's that significant, it can be a life-altering event, especially if you don't have insurance. And, we're talking 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, $50,000 in coverage for renter's insurance. You pick the limit, and it's going to be replacement cost, so go appropriate. Don't go too low. Many people undervalue their stuff. We're all so modest when it comes to that, right? When it comes to insurance, we become very modest. When it comes to talking to our friends, we're very braggy, but go higher. You're talking, 10, 15, 20, $30 a month for that protection. It's absolutely worth it.
Well, there was a happy ending to it. Everybody in the apartments and in the businesses got out. I like the story. Well, I feel sorry for the poor gal, but she was in the shower at the time of the fire and heard the smoke alarms.
Yes.
Was able to get out, get some clothing on, grab her cat, and get to safety. So
yes, and it's always awesome when the smoke alarms, the fire alarms do their job. And that is why, as insurance companies and agents, we're always harping on make sure that you've got the appropriate systems. Now, certainly a commercial building like that has hardwired, interconnected smoke detectors that smoke is detected on one floor, the whole building is going to go off on an alarm. And that is life-saving. So if you know anybody who has a multi-unit apartment building or even your house, I have interconnected in my house. So if I have smoke in my basement, it's going to alert me in my bedroom. Those seconds can turn into life or death.
And that's what we're talking about. All right. If folks have questions,
give us a call, 748-5224. You can find our office on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com. Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
All right. Now, I haven't heard the final tally here on the golf fundraiser event for NEK Can. Can you give us an update?
What an amazing event that was, Jeff. So we had 29 teams. It was picture-perfect weather day. Some sprinkles late in the day, maybe when people were on their 16th or 17th hole. I don't think it was even a big deal. $21,000 raised.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. So we want to thank all of our sponsors, all of the participants. Everybody said they had a great time. We're already gearing up for year number 2 next year. Looking forward to it.
All right. nekcan.org. And next week, and Tuesdays, we'll have more good policies on Magic. And coming up, Blink 182. For those of you that know your music trivia, today is Blink 182 Day because it's the 182nd day of the year. And they changed their name. It's coming up on Magic.